What's up, fishes? It's your boy Chillfish, and today I'll be talking about Solemn Judgment. This card's been back in the meta for about 2 weeks right now, and it's just kind of my thoughts on how this is going to further impact the meta. If you guys watched my ban list reaction video, I talked about how this card and Monster Reborn will get in their own separate videos, just talking about how they're going to actually impact the meta. Especially because I thought for the ban list, there's just so much to cover, and I try to keep it under 10 minutes. But this one, I'm just going to go with this one. Solemn Judgment. This card has never been legal as long as I've been alive in the TCG, you know? I started playing 2013. I picked up Yu-Gi-Oh cards around October of 2013, but I didn't start playing remotely, even being aware of the meta's existence until about January 2014, I think is when I became aware of it. I mean, I know the ban list, obviously we were playing with the cards, but I didn't know much about it. So as long as I've been in the game, this card has never been alive, never been back. Again, shout outs to my boy Jay. Jay called this. He said that this card should come off. Now I think he said going to 2, which was never going to happen. Sorry, Jay. But the fact that this came to 1 is really huge in TCG land out here in the meta, and here's why. Let's talk about the meta real quick. Right now, at the time of recording this video, the meta is kind of undefined. Cards are coming up. There's a lot of decks coming out. As a matter of fact, tune in Friday for a new video, which will be I'll be tackling, called 5 decks that'll make a comeback with this format. But we're dealing with a lot of unique, cards and decks coming back. We've got dinosaurs coming back. Trickstars are still alive, for crying out loud. Trickstars are still alive. True Draco is all of a sudden spiking out of nowhere, which I've always hated that deck. I've always been kind of weary of that deck's existence. And Vote engines are coming around. The Klee Link is actually involving a lot of machine plays like ABCs, and a lot of other decks are coming around. So the meta right now is undecided. I mean, Spirals are still pretty much top to contender, and so are Pendulum Magicians. Even with Skullcraback and Double Iris, Magicians are just huge right now. Electrum is godly. I wouldn't even say it's busted, honestly. I think it's just godly for the deck, and it does help a lot with the deck. And honestly, you could substitute. If you guys, for Magicians, we lost Double Iris and we lost Skullcraback, but you could substitute that with some of the mythical beasts or mystical beasts. That does help out a little bit. I've seen a lot of people playing that. A lot of hand traps are even becoming debatable in the meta right now, which is interesting because I hate hand traps so much. But you're going, Chillfish, you're rambling. What about Solemn Judgment? Glad you're thinking that, because Solemn Judgment is here. It is a necessary evil, quote unquote, I would say, for the meta. But that this card will boost a lot of low tier decks and even mid tier and even rogue decks up to the competitive standard, because you do have at least one option to negate anything you want. Now, the hefty life point cost is really huge when you're going second. But as everyone's argued all over the internet, if you're mid-game, you're both at half your life points, paying 2,000 to negate something is not bad. Or even if you're at 2,000, you pay 1,000, it's not that bad. You can always play this card, and that's what's risky about it. But that's what I like about it, that it's constantly being able to be played, and it can negate everything under the damn sun, which is another reason why I like it, because it does put another card in check. This card, I think, should have gone to 2, personally, evenly matched. This combats evenly matched very well. Your opponent's going in, the minute they say battle phase, you're like, fuck you, boom. Don't, you're not doing that. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Sorry for swearing, guys, but bye. You can negate that. And yes, of course, the cost of your life points, is kind of hefty, but think about that. What's worth more? Half, life point cost or keeping your board in contact. And this kind of balances it out. Now, I do think that evenly matched should have gone to 2, even with Solemn Judgment going to 1, because then it would have been a little bit less. I think it would have been a little bit more fair, because then you and your opponent, if you and your opponent both have 3 evenly matched and 1 Solemn Judgment, that means that you are going to probably get 1 of those evenly matches off. You're only going to stop 1, which means there's still 2 floating around in there. Now, if there's that 2, you would then limit the odds to a lot, which one of those things you would be able to get, which I think would put a lot more balance into the game. That's just me. But this also does discuss and combats hand traps, I do think, unless I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, comment below, let me know, light me up, I don't care. But I do think that it combats hand traps because it negates monster effects or anything like that, which is huge. This does negate a lot of good things in that order. Now, one thing that this card does really boost a deck that I do think could, as of right now, it's still not doing much, but I do think this could help at least generate and boost this deck, Counter Fairies. Now, those of you who don't know, I've been playing Counter Fairies recently. I love the deck. I think it's really fun. Ironically, it's a lot of things I don't like about Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'm playing it. And Solemn really helps out the deck a lot because, one, it's a counter trap. You can search it off of, I believe it's Valkyria or it's Minerva. It's one of those monsters that can search it off. You can activate it with Guiding Ariadne on the field. You can pay it for nothing. You have a free negate on the board then. Okay, cool. Which does mean, though, that The meta now is going to also shift to becoming more back row removal, which is interesting because, again, even if you never get this card off, the fact that its existence is already changing so much in the meta is crazy. You know, Cosmic Cyclones are running around still. Twin Twisters are coming back into relevancy. You know, Heavy Dust Storm could come back and do a lot of other things too, especially considering you're going to be playing a lot of traps anyway. You might as well because it hides you from that. And overall, I just think Solemn Judgment's an all-around solid card. I do think it's really powerful. It's why it's at 1. I would not want this to come to 2 or, God forbid, 3. I'm sorry. God forbid it comes to 3. If it does, I don't know what I would do. I mean, I'd rather deal with that at 3 than Zodiac coming back. But it does boost counter fairies. It has an impact on the meta some way. It combats evenly matched. There's a lot of other things that it probably does. What are some other things that you guys think that I've missed about some major aspects? What are some other things that this deck, or this card, I should say, combats from the meta, or even in a casual perspective? The fact that you now have back row also is just really interesting, because now Konami is pretty much saying, okay, we need to shift you guys back into a back row heavy format. And I do remember the last time that we switched away from, you know, the first time we switched away from a very background heavy format was with Necroz format, and that's when people were playing trapless Necroz, because they could just boom and you're good. And now recently, in the last few times we've been out of the out of the meta, so to speak, traps have not been a huge prevalence unless you're playing counter fairies or paleo or other kind of decks like that, like Demise, but this does help combat that. So overall, guys, I think Judgment's here to stay, actually. This is not a card where I think it's going to go to 1 or get banned afterwards. I feel like Judgment's here for at least 2 formats. I don't know how long, to be honest. I don't want to say how long, but at least the next ban list, which is rumored to come in April, which honestly, Konami, up until last year, Konami had been religiously releasing an April 1st ban list, so my money's, again, on April 1st with the new ban list, just because of history and convenience. But this, I think, is going to stay. It's not going to be Snatch Steal, where we had Snatch Steal for one format, and they realized, this is busted. We're going to now ban it again. No, I think it's going to stay for a while. A Monster Reborn, spoiler alert, I think it's going to go back to banned after this format, because it was just kind of a money pool, to be completely honest. Now, if Solemn Judgment had an alternate art, this would be even better, because more people would be wanting to play that. And if you still have any of your secret, if you held on to your secret rare Yu-Gi-Oh! Joey's World Solemn Judgments, you now can make some pretty good bank. And I would even go through all your comments, because you're gonna find a bunch of these. This thing got reprinted so many times. Honestly, go to a card shop and just look at their traps. If there's a good locals that have their own traps in their own special spot, or even alphabetical order, if you have a really dedicated card shop, you will find a bunch of those, I guarantee. I mean, may not now because it's been 2 weeks, but overall, guys, those are my thoughts on Solemn Judgment. I think it's here to stay. I think it's extremely powerful. It's not the most broken card because you can easily Twin Twister, Cosmic Cyclone, Diamond Direwolf, for those of you ABC players out there. There's ways around the card. And while one, I think it's nice to have just in case, I do think it's going to make some sort of impact more in a proactive sense. I don't see it becoming the next meta trap or the biggest thing to hit Yu-Gi-Oh! Or, it's not going to be like Evenly Matched, where Evenly Matched is busted through the format going, hey, everybody, I'm here, let's party. That didn't happen at all. This one is more, I think, very subtle. I think we're now going to create a slower Yu-Gi-Oh! Environment, which is, I don't know about you guys, but I've been championing for a slower Yu-Gi-Oh! Since when Lynx first came out. So I feel like with this card, this does create a lower, slower format, a more safe format, a little bit more cautious. Kind of like back in the day. I mean, there's other traps that are around too that could become relevant. I do think that with Solemn Judgment's impact, other traps could come back, like Mirror Force should come back, all the Mirror Forces, I think. Because now we're afraid of back row, which I'm okay with. I think that back row fear is a very healthy thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! I really do. Because traps are slow. And if we're scared of slow traps, it means we're in a good format. I don't like it when we're busting through the walls and doing everything crazy. And that's just my opinion. Anyway, guys, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Comment down below, like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please stay tuned. This week, again, as I mentioned, on Friday, I'll be dropping my 5 decks that can make a comeback. Comment below if you think what I'm going to talk about, predictions, all that kind of good stuff. We are also starting to do more deck profiles for the channel. If you haven't seen Jay's, link below, please check it out. We're also going to eventually get back to going to Legacy. I don't know if you guys like that. We kind of had a lackluster performance on it, but me and Kono Band are still going to be doing that. And if you guys have any suggestions, you guys want a deck profile coverage, you want thoughts on a specific card for us to discuss, you want an archetype review, so to speak, or what to run in a certain build, please comment and let us know, because we're here in the best way, we're here for you guys. If you guys want us here, please, please let us know what we can film, because we'll just be filming what we like, but you guys are our audience and we want to hear it from you guys. So again, please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time here on Rising Duelist.